We are studying chapter number 4, I guess it is. Yes, chapter number 4 in Science 1, which is called Effects of Electric Current. We have completed a lot of content of this chapter, and actually this we can say this chapter is divided into 4 parts. One was about the mathematics. Second one was about the heating effect of electric current. Third one is about how the magnetic effect can be used to convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. These 3 things we have completed. The last part is about electromagnetic induction. Absolutely no need to worry. We will understand, even if we don't understand now. This is what we have studied, as I told you just now. We understood how to calculate and how to measure electrical energy and power. Remember the multiple formulae and units of measurement. We also understood what happens when electric current passes through a conductor, and in that we understood that it produces some heat energy also. And we can use that heat energy to heat other things. The same heat energy can be detrimental, can be harmful, because it may lead to short circuits. It may cause fires. Finally, in the last class, we understood the magnetic effect of electric current, where we saw how when electric current passes through a conductor, it produces its own magnetic field. And we can use another magnetic field produced by a normal magnet to create some motion, because like poles repel each other, unlike poles attract each other. Using that concept, we could move things when we combine electric conductor carrying electricity with a magnet. And this effect, magnetic effect, is governed by 2 rules: right-hand thumb rule and Fleming's left-hand rule. And the very, very, very interesting and very high rigor, complicated application of magnetic effect of electric current we understood in electric motor. That is the device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So here, students, class, I apologize. I told you something wrong in the previous class. I told you that the refrigerator that we have in our homes, it doesn't have a electric motor. Alfia had read in the textbook that refrigerators also have electric motors. And I said, no, only the big refrigerators have it. I was wrong. All the refrigerators have electric motor, because the compressor which is there in any refrigerator, the fridge that we have at home, although they are small, at the back of every fridge, mostly at the bottom, there is a black cylinder ball-like structure, and that is a compressor. I thought it did not have a mechanical motor in it. It did not have an electric motor in it. It had some other mechanism, but I was wrong. There is an electric motor in every compressor. It has a pump and it has a motor. So refrigerators also have motors. If Alfia is there, I stand corrected. Class, I stand corrected. Before we study for this class, 3 or 4 quick questions. What you will see on your screen is pictures, and I will ask you some questions related to those pictures. If you know the answer, you can speak. If you know the answer, you can type. I can see and I can hear you all. First question coming to your screen. Something is missing. Some label is missing. In this diagram, the direction of electric current is shown, and a right hand holding the electric conductor is also shown. Some circular lines are drawn. What are they? What do they show? That is the question. Okay, Khadija, got your answer? Can you make it better, Khadija? Akhilesh, Rajesh, can you make it better? Muskan Sheikh, can you make it better? Chanda, can you make it better? Karina, can you make it better? Can you say something other than what is given in the textbook? Thank you, Prachi. That is exactly what I was looking for. We can say that what is missing on the screen is the direction of magnetic field, not just magnetic field, right? If there were only lines, the concentric circles, then we could have said magnetic field. But here, there are concentric circles and the concentric circles have arrows on them. So a better answer would be direction of magnetic field. Magnetic field is not wrong, but direction of magnetic field will be so much better. Moving to the next. Once again, something is missing. What is missing? Kritika, no. Karthik, correct. Karthik, Alfia, Prachi, correct. Khadija, correct. Aarti Bania, correct. What is missing here is direction of electric current. Direction of electric current. Now, if I push you to make this diagram even better, if I ask you, जो ऊपर वाला arrow है, ऊपर वाला arrow, उस पे लिखा हुआ है force on the conductor. If I ask you to make it even better, what would you say? Chanda, Anushka, answer to the previous question. Direction of electric current is correct. Now I'm asking, can we make the top thing, force on conductor, better? We can write it in a better way. Thank you, Prachi. It is the direction of the force on the conductor, because force, again, just like magnetic field, is a vector quantity. So we have to show the direction also. This is not just force, this is the direction of the force. Please be clear about these things. Another question coming to your screen, and I think this is going to be the most interesting question. What is wrong in this diagram? In the first diagram, you saw the right-hand rule. In the second diagram, you saw the Fleming's left-hand rule. In the third diagram, you are looking at a motor. And once I send you this slide after the class, you will have a much better reference to draw a good diagram of electric motor. See, this is so clear. But my question is, what is wrong with the diagram? Alfia is saying exchange of poles. Okay. Karthik is showing axle is wrong. Okay. Or axle is not shown. Okay. Sandhya is saying north pole should be on the left side. Okay. Anyone else? What is wrong with this diagram? Of course, and these are not pictures, these are diagrams. So they will not be exactly as a motor is. These are schematic diagrams. Simplify the construction of a complicated device and help us understand the construction and working.
How?
There is nothing wrong in this diagram. Everything is fine. That is the correct answer. I thought you will give me two different answers. One you gave, second one you did not give. One answer, as Sandhya and Alfia said, north and south are changed. But why is it wrong? It is not wrong. Because the north and south have changed, now the direction of the magnetic field is not from left to right, but it is from right to left. Enough? And then the current will go like this. So the direction of the force acting on the armature changes. In the diagram that is given in our textbook, the field is from left to right and the current is from outward to inward. And so, if you remember, it moved like this. Here, the direction of the current is same, but the direction of the field has changed. So, using the same Fleming's left-hand rule, we will figure out that it will move like this. It will move clockwise. In the diagram of the motor that we have in our textbook, the motion is anti-clockwise. In this case, the motion will be clockwise. There is nothing wrong with the diagram. So please be careful. Just because you change the poles of the magnet or just because you change the direction of the battery doesn't make it wrong. If we change that, we need to be careful. We need to recalculate, refind what the direction of the movement of the armature will be. The construction remains correct. This is what we will study or we will try to study today. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. Electromagnetic induction, first time we will study. Galvanometer, maybe you know what it is already. Faraday's law of induction, I'm sure you don't know. Fleming's right hand rule, अब यो करना है तो right hand को भी use करना पड़ेगा ना. So we have already found a rule for left hand. Now we are going to get a rule for the right hand. And finally, we will understand AC and DC. AC, alternating current. DC, direct current. I have mentioned these names before. We will try understand what they are in a little bit more detail today in the class. Please have your textbooks ready. Please have your notebooks, pens and pencils ready. To understand what electromagnetic induction is, let us step back. Let us step back and think how we create it. And you can look at the diagram of the electric motor in your textbook. We constructed the electric motor with two main things. There are many things, but two main things. We have magnet, which produces the magnetic field, and we have the armature, which conducts the electric current. And what happens in the armature depends on what is the direction of the current, what is the direction of the magnetic field, how they interact with each other, what kind of force is applied on the armature, and it moves. It's a lot of things, but mainly we have a magnetic field and we have an electric conductor. Using that, when we passed electric current, it produced motion. The question now is, suppose we reverse some things. What do we reverse? Suppose we have a magnetic field, that is, we have magnets and we have electric conductor. But instead of passing electric current through it, suppose we move the electric current ऐसे किसी तरीके से. और जो हमारा आर्मेचर है, suppose we have the magnetic field and we just move the armature mechanically. हमने हाथ से उसको घुमाया. Understand what the difference is. In the motor, we are passing the electric current through the conductor, because of which the armature moves. The question is, क्या होगा कि हम इलेक्ट्रिक करंट उसमें पास नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम उसको घुमाएंगे, तब क्या होगा? Second, maybe we will leave the armature there or leave the conductor wherever it is, and we will move the magnetic field, we will move the magnets. तब क्या होगा? Can you guess and tell? The answer is very simple. We are dealing with three. The three things are magnetic field, electric current, and mechanical motion. What we have already studied is when we pass electric current through a conductor which is placed in a magnetic field, their magnetic fields interact and a mechanical motion is produced. Now the question is, if we don't pass an electric current, but we create mechanical motion or we change the magnetic field, what may happen? That is the question. And I know that you can guess an answer. You can speak, you can tell. One answer has come through, but it is not written properly. Kritika is saying somehow she knows, and she says electric will produce. No, it's not electric will produce, electricity will be produced. Electric current may be produced. Remember the three fingers: magnetic field, electric current, motion of the conductor. Now I am saying there is magnetic field, there is motion in the conductor. What will happen? Of course, the third finger will happen. Electric current will be produced. But you will not trust me if I tell you that this is happening, this will happen, and no one should trust. Science is not about believing, science is not about trusting, science is about proving, science is about observing, science is about knowing. But even if we guess that electric current will be produced, then we should have something to know that electric current will be produced. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि अब कृतिका जाकर वो तार को छुएगी, शॉक लगेगा, फिर पता चलेगा हाँ इसमें करंट है. This is not a good way. Is it a good way, Kritika? It's a very harmful way. So we have another instrument which is called a galvanometer. You will study the details of a galvanometer much later if you study science in college. To keep it very simple, we can say that galvanometer is an instrument which is used to detect electric current. Detect. Remember, ammeter is another instrument which is used to measure electric current. Voltmeter is another instrument which is used to measure voltmeter. And the pictures that you see on the screen, which are from the textbook, this is how galvanometers look. But again, I will challenge you to think more. You are modern people. ये जो photos दिए गए हैं, these are very old. Now hardly anyone uses such things. If you know any electrician, if you know someone at home or someone in the community, then they have an instrument which is called a multimeter. A multimeter can measure resistance, a multimeter can measure current, a multimeter can measure voltage, a multimeter can also detect current. That is why it is called multimeter. It can measure multiple things. And they are digital also. अभी जो आपको फोटो में देख रहे हो आप, it has a needle, no? And it moves. So if it moves, we will know that yes, current is there. And how does it work? Now we are studying very hi-fi things. Now we can say that this works by Fleming's left-hand rule. What does Fleming's left-hand rule say? It says if we have a magnetic field, and then we pass a electric current through a conductor placed in that magnetic field, then this conductor will experience a force. So इस galvanometer के अंदर में भी, inside the galvanometer, there are magnets. There is a magnetic field and there is a conductor. If we connect this galvanometer in the circuit, and if there is a current in the circuit, the current will flow through the conductor of the galvanometer also. Now, when that happens, the conductor will move, and that movement of the conductor is reflected in the movement of the needle. Fleming's left-hand rule. So there is a kind of a motor in this also, in galvanometer, and it is used to measure electric current. Let's see how we can use the galvanometer in some experiments to see actually what happens when we have a conductor, we have a magnetic field, and we move those things. Some experiments and observations. I'm combining a lot of things which are given in the textbooks together. This is how it will make more sense. Pay attention. Very, very simple setup. There is a conductor which is stretched. It's a wire. It is stretched across two stands. And of course, the circuit is completed with a galvanometer. And there is a magnet. There is a magnet which is placed under the wire. Experiment number 1. We oscillate the wire. हम wire को move करते हैं from A to B to B to A to A to B to B to A. As Kritika said, what we will see is the needle of the galvanometer will move. And that movement will tell us, it's a proof that electric current was produced in that wire. And of course, don't move the wire with your naked hand. Have gloves, or the wire should be externally insulated. नहीं तो फंसेंगे, shock लगे. Experiment number 1. We have a wire, we have a magnet. So magnet is producing a magnetic field. When we move the wire, we see that electric current is produced. Jadoo. Second experiment. We will move the magnet. आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे दाएं बाएं, whichever direction, we will move the magnet. Remember, the right hand thumb rule says there is a particular direction of the magnetic field of an electric conductor. And of course, magnets also have magnetic field in a particular direction, in a particular pattern. So if we move the magnet, we are changing the magnetic field. And what we will notice is when we move the magnet also, the needle of the galvanometer moves. That also will tell us that electric current is produced. Electric current is produced. So we have a conductor, we have a magnet. If we move the conductor, electricity is produced. If we move the magnet, then also electricity is produced. This is what we were guessing when we started the class. Now what we have is a coil which is connected to a galvanometer. Of course, galvanometer is there to see if a current is produced at all. And then we have a solenoid coil which is connected to a battery. Tell me, remind me, what happens when electric current is passed through a solenoid coil? What happens? It starts acting like something else. What happens to the solenoid coil? Refer to the textbook, refer to the notes. What happens when we pass electric current through a solenoid coil? As Anushka rightly reminded us, when we pass electric current through a solenoid coil, now see, we are solenoid coil is a conductor. We are passing electricity through it. So a magnetic field will be produced. And that magnetic field will be very, very, very similar to the magnetic field produced by a bar magnet. Look at the picture that is there on page number 54. Page number 54. Magnetic field due to current in a solenoid. Now we need to know this. We need to keep that in mind, because what we are doing here is, instead of using a proper magnet, the solenoid coil with current passing through it acts as an electromagnet. We are passing electric current through it. Because of it, magnetic field is produced. So this is an electromagnet. So we have a coil with galvanometer connected to it, and we have solenoid coil connected through a battery. And there is a switch. You see, there is a switch. When the switch is off, there is no current. And as Anushka said, if the current is not there, it will not act as a magnet. There will not be any magnetic field. If we switch it on, then a current will flow and it will start acting as a bar magnet. It will have its magnetic field. And we will notice that whenever we switch it on or we switch it off, mind my words carefully. Whenever we switch it on or whenever we switch it off, the needle of the galvanometer will move. And it will tell us that, yes, electric current was produced in the coil. We are passing electric current through the solenoid coil, because of which electric current is produced in the coil. I will tell you again. Whenever we switch the circuit on or whenever we switch the circuit off, the needle will move. That is the observation. Try, think and tell why this happens. What is happening here is, let's combine what Tushar is saying with what Anushka said. Anushka said, when we pass electric current through the solenoid, it starts acting as a bar magnet. So when we are not passing the electric current through the solenoid, it is not acting as a bar magnet. So passing the electric current and not passing the electric current, there is a transformation, there is a change. Suppose the switch is off. Now we are switching it on. Current passes. Now it becomes a bar magnet. It creates magnetic field. So there is a change in the magnetic field. That is what Tushar means when he says displacement in the magnetic field. There is a change in the magnetic field. And that change in the magnetic field creates a current in the coil. Similarly, if the circuit is on and we switch it off, magnetic field was there. Now it removed. It was removed. It is removed. Now there is a change. From nothing to something is a change. From something to nothing is also a change. And both these changes in the magnetic field are very similar to what we saw in the previous experiment. There was a wire and we were shaking. We were moving the magnet. When we move the magnet, we change the magnetic field. So here also, just by switching the circuit on and switching the circuit off, we can change the magnetic field, and when the magnetic field changes, it will produce electric current. Same solenoid coil connected to a battery, same simple coil connected to a galvanometer. But now what we are doing is, we are keeping the circuit on. We are keeping the circuit for the solenoid coil on. Remember, when we switch it on, there will be a current in the coil on the left hand side. And then it will not be there because there is no change in the magnetic field. But then if we move the coil like this or like this, what should happen? Or like this, we will again see that there is a current. There is a current. The needle of the galvanometer will move. अब क्या हुआ? Now we are keeping the solenoid coil as a magnet, as a bar magnet. We are not changing the magnetic field, but the impact of the magnetic field on the coil changes when we move. So once again, magnetic field changed. Or we can say we are moving the conductor in the magnetic field. Look, think about the previous experiment once again. Magnet was wherever it was, and we moved the conductor. When we moved the conductor, there was electric current. So here also, now the solenoid connected to a battery switches on, is acting like a magnet. And when we move the coil, we are actually moving that wire in the previous experiment. So electric current is produced. Same setup. We have the coil, we have the solenoid, and here also we are switching the solenoid circuit on and keeping it on. So there is a magnetic field and we are not changing the magnetic field. Now, instead of moving it like this, the coil, suppose we are moving the coil like this, or the solenoid coil like this. Once again, it is just like moving the conductor or moving the magnet in the previous experiment. There is a change in the magnetic field. And that change in the magnetic field is producing the electric current, which will reflect in the movement of the needle of the galvanometer. Let's go back and see what experiments we have done. Very simple. We are stretching a wire on two strands. It is connected to a galvanometer, simple electric circuit. We observe that when we move the wire, there is a current. When we move the magnet, then also there is a current. Quick confirmation. दिमाग में बैठ गया ये चीज. Next, instead of taking a permanent magnet, we are taking a solenoid. We are using it as an electromagnet. There is a coil. So when we switch the circuit on or when we switch the circuit off, there is a change in the magnetic field from 0 to something to 0. And that change in the magnetic field produces a current in the coil. Quick confirmation. Okay. Next, same setup. Now we are keeping the circuit of the solenoid on. So we are using it as a bar magnet and we are moving the coil. It is just like moving the wire and keeping the magnet stationary. Magnetic field changes. So electric current is produced. Finally, even if the movement is longitudinal, whether it is lateral or longitudinal, there is a change in the magnetic field which produces electric current. Quick confirmation that you have understood what we are doing in each of these 4 situations. And these experiments were done by Michael Faraday, whose name is given on page number 58, bottom of the page, Michael Faraday. And he is the person who came up with this law, which is called Faraday's Law of Induction, which is very nicely explained in the textbook on page number 58. There is a red heading says Faraday's Law of Induction. Read it on your own for the next 2-3 minutes and you tell me what that law is. We can summarize with these 4 experiments that whenever there is a change in the number of magnetic lines of force passing through a conductor, whenever this happens, it produces a current. Where does it produce the electric current? It produces the electric current in the conductor. Now, the conductor is not connected to a source of power. It is not connected to a battery. It is not connected to the plug point. But a current is produced in that. This phenomenon is called induction. A It's not injection, it is induction. There is no contact, but a current is produced. This is called induction. And this current is called induced current. And Faraday's laws is not just one law. There are multiple laws of Faraday's. In summary, what for this class, just to understand the basics, what he says is, whenever there is a change in the number of magnetic lines of force passing through a conductor, that means, in simple terms, we can say, if there is a change in the magnetic field in which the conductor is, that change in the magnetic field will produce electric current in the conductor. This production happens without any contact. This production happens without any power source. So this is called induction. And this current is called induced current. So Faraday's law of induction is a current is induced in the conductor if or when the number of magnetic lines of force passing through it changes. Or we can also say, when the number of magnetic lines of force passing through a conductor change, a current is induced in the conductor. This is the Faraday's law of induction. Now, once we have settled on this fact, that yes, whenever there is a change in the magnetic field, or whenever there is a change in the number of lines of magnetic lines of forces that are passing through a conductor, and that may happen because of starting of a current, shutting of a current, movement of the magnet, or movement of the conductor, there will be electric current induced in the electric conductor. But we know just saying that electric current will be produced is not enough, because electric current doesn't travel in random directions. It travels in one particular direction. What is that direction? What is the conventional direction of electric current? Remind me, what is the conventional direction of the direction of conventional electric current? Does it go from north to south? Yes, Chan said north to south. No, better. South and north are magnetic poles. That is, they are not used to refer to electric current. Current, the conventional direction of electric current is from positive to negative. There is a particular direction. So saying that electric current is produced is not enough. We also need to know the direction of the current in the electric current. So if it is a wire, in the previous experiment, what was the direction of the electric current? Was it from stand A to stand B, or stand B to stand A? If it was the coil in the previous experiment, so what was the direction of the electric current? Was it clockwise or anti-clockwise? That is a question that we still need to answer, and that is answered by another of Fleming's rule, which is called Fleming's right-hand rule. Left hand and right hand. The fingers, the same three fingers will be used for the right hand also. The middle finger, the index finger, the thumb. And what they represent is also the same thing. Thumb still represent the motion of the conductor. The index finger will still represent the direction of the magnetic field. The middle finger will still represent the direction of the current. But now the interpretation of the rule, the description of the rule will change. Remember, for the left hand thumb rule, Fleming's left hand rule, we said, if we stretch the three fingers perpendicular to each other such a way that the index finger points in the direction of the magnetic field, the middle finger points in the direction of the electric current, then the thumb points to the direction of the force acting on the conductor. That means it points in the direction of the motion of the conductor, because that is the result of these two. Now, motion of the conductor is not the result. This is one of the inputs. So the left hand rule says, if we stretch the three fingers of our right hand, the right hand rule, not the left hand, the right hand rule says, if we stretch the three fingers of our right hand, which three fingers? The middle finger, the index finger, the middle finger, and thumb perpendicular to each other, such that, kaisa? That the index finger points in the direction of the magnetic field. The thumb points in the direction of the motion of the conductor. Then the middle finger will give us the direction of electric current. Just the sequence has changed. The if then has changed. Magnetic field, the index finger still is part of the if. The middle finger is now the consequence. The thumb finger is now the input, is part of the if. Once again, index finger in the direction of magnetic field, thumb in the direction of the motion of the conductor, then the middle finger gives us the direction of the current. Kaise bhi rakho? We know na, this is thumb, this is index, this is middle. Direction of the motion, force, magnetic field, current. Go to page number 59 of the textbook. Page number 59, top of the page. The heading says alternating current AC and direct current DC. I'm referring to the textbook, page number 59. There are three paragraphs. There are three paragraphs there. Right now, I only want you to read the first paragraph and then tell me what is the difference between AC and DC. You will tell me and I will update it on the slide. Read the paragraph. Prachi is saying DC is current in one direction. Akhilesh Rajesh are saying flow of current from cell to cell is called direct current. No, that's wrong, Akhilesh. Prachi then says AC means change in current at equal intervals of time. Okay. Anushka says alternating current is when with every half rotation of the direction of the current changes. Rotation of what, Anushka? But you are saying direction of the current changes. Okay. Karthik says non-oscillatory current flowing in one direction in a circuit from one point to another is called direct current. Okay. Aarti is saying DC, the current flow in one direction. DC, the current changes and directions are equal. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Now, read again. I'm reading it again for you. Huh? So far, we have learned about a non-oscillatory current flowing in one direction. So this is about direction. So one aspect is direction in a circuit from cell to the cell. From cell to the cell means from positive terminal to the negative terminal. Such a current is called direct current. As against a current changing in magnitude and direction after equal intervals of time, which is called alternating current. And this is why I asked you to read very, very carefully. It's not only about the direction. It is also about the magnitude. In case of the direct current, direction remains same. Whichever way it is going, whichever direction it is going, the direction remains same. In case of alternating current, the direction keeps changing. And not just randomly, the direction keeps changing periodically, regularly. Not just this, the magnitude also keeps changing. Magnitude is the value, the strength of the current. This is what the textbook says. Please confirm that now you have noticed that there are two things that are mentioned: direction and magnitude. Waiting for your confirmations. Have you completed the reading? Second paragraph. So Prachi is saying about magnitude can increase, be stable, or reduce. Yes. So in one line, we can say magnitude in case of DC may or may not change. It may change, it may not change. This is how we have defined the two types of current. One is direct current, in which the direction always remains the same, and direct current is produced when we use a battery, whether it is small or big, however small, however big. It is possible that the magnitude changes, kabhi zyada hai, kabhi kam hai, kabhi same hai, but that is DC. AC is when both the direction and magnitude change periodically. Let us look at them graphically and maybe we will understand. If you want to show direct current and alternating current in a circuit, then the diagrams have to be different. You already know about this diagram on the left. This is a battery consisting of many cells. Each long line shows a positive terminal of the cell. Each small line shows a negative terminal of the cells, and cells are connected in series. That is why it has become a battery. But if we have to show the alternating current, because it keeps on increasing, decreasing, direction keeps changing, we show this symbol. It's like a S, sleeping S, not standing S, sleeping S. Why are we using this symbol? Because that is how the alternating current, the magnitude and the direction of the alternating current is. If we take time on the x-axis and the strength of the current on the y-axis, we are studying coordinate geometry also. In case of the direct current, when the magnitude is same, the direction is also same. So the blue line here shows a direct current of 1 ampere. 1 ampere. But what will happen in case of the alternate current is, yes, we are switching it on. So it is starting from 0, goes to 1 ampere, then it comes back to 0, then goes in the other direction to minus, then comes back to 0. This is one cycle. It's a wave. What kind of wave is this? What kind of wave does it look like? Do you remember 2 different types of waves we have studied? One starts with a T, one starts with an L. It's oscillating up and down, up and down. The value, the magnitude of the alternating current keeps oscillating. No, Prachi, this is not a longitudinal wave. This is a transverse wave. The highest point is called a crest. The lowest point is called a trough. The length of one full wave is a wavelength, and the time taken for the wave to cover this distance of one wavelength is called a frequency, which is mentioned in the last paragraph of the textbook, where it says कि हमारे घरों में जो इलेक्ट्रिक सप्लाई होती है इंडिया में, that current is alternating current. It is not direct current. And the frequency of that current is 50 hertz. 50 hertz means it completes 50 cycles in every second. 50 cycles in 1 second. 50 hertz. And when we said, even in the case of direct current, it is possible that the magnitude changes, but the direction never changes. Graphically, this is how it will look. Yes, the current is increasing on the left-hand side. Then it is stable. It's a line graph. Time on the x-axis. Strength of the current on the y-axis. No change. Then it is reducing. Although the magnitude is changing, the direction is not changing. So this is also something that we can call as direct current. So direct current, the direction remains same, magnitude may change. Alternating current, both the direction and the magnitude, they change, and they change periodically. One last question before we end the class. We will study about alternating current and how alternating current is generated using a generator. But a very simple question that I'm asking you, and please use the internet, please use your knowledge. If your parents are there at home, ask them also. Why do we have alternating current supply in India? Is there any advantage in it? Is there any disadvantage in the direct current? What is it? Why do we use alternating current? Do the research now and share the answer now. Some interesting answers are coming. Let me read the answers for all of you. Khadija is saying alternating energy. No, we are not talking about alternating energy with a alternating current. So Khadija says alternating current is cheaper to generate and has few energy losses as compared to direct current. Okay. So where is this loss happening? Chand is saying we use alternating current because it gives minimum power loss during transmission. Oh, Khadija's question is answered by Chand that there is a loss of power during transmission. याद करो, last time हमने पढ़ा था, from the power plant we use thick wires on tall poles to transfer from one place to another. That is called transmission. And during that transmission, now I'm reading what Prachi is saying, fewer energy is lost. Yes, during that transmission, whenever electric current passes through a conductor, heat is generated. That is a loss. Right? To avoid those losses, during transmission, we use electric current. Very good. You have found the answer. Right? But also try to find out why is that. Why do we have less loss when we use AC? Why do we have more loss when we use DC? Try to do some more research and find that answer also. Good. You are on the right track. So this will be your homework. You will complete the notes. We studied a lot of theory today. You will answer just one question from exercise, which is question number 3. It's a multiple choice question. It will not take more than 30 seconds. And then you will find out why do we use AC, right? And when you are finding the answer to this question, remember, you are not stopping at just saying less energy loss, cheaper. You need to find out why less energy loss, why it is cheaper. Complete it latest by tomorrow night.